Good morning and welcome back to the Essay Desk. This is episode 027. Today we sit with a topic that looks small but hides one of the oldest quarrels in human thought, the quarrel between the mind that measures and the mind that feels. It is the kind of line the examiner drops in without warning. No quotation marks, no attribution, just a single sharp image daring you to decode it. Stay with me, because this family of topics, reason against intuition, science against romance, has shown up again and again in recent years, and it rewards exactly the kind of layered thinking we are going to build today. Here is today's line: the scalpel that dissects the rose has never smelled one. Read it twice. A scalpel is precision, it is method. It is the promise that if you cut carefully enough, you will find the truth inside. But the rose it cuts open no longer has a scent to give. This is section A, the abstract archetype, and it belongs to the family of reason versus intuition, science versus romance, a theme that has surfaced in some form in almost every recent cycle, and currently sits at a high heat because it maps so neatly onto our age of artificial intelligence and data worship. This is exactly the kind of topic that separates a script that lists facts from a script that actually thinks. Let us decode it properly before we write a single line. The scalpel stands for reason, for the discipline of dissection, verification, evidence, the entire architecture of modern method. The smell of the rose stands for something else: intuition, wonder, the immediate felt knowledge that arrives before any proof is offered. The topic is not asking you to crown one and dismiss the other. It is asking whether a mind trained only to dissect can ever grasp what a thing means, as opposed to merely what a thing is made of. Fix your thesis now in one line, something like this: reason without intuition explains the world but empties it of meaning, while intuition without reason floats free of proof, and true wisdom is the marriage of both, not the victory of either. Now build your movements and let each one raise a question the next one answers. Open philosophical, naming the old argument between the analytic mind and the intuitive mind. Move to the scientific dimension, showing that even discovery itself usually begins with a felt hunch that reason later verifies. From there, go technological and legal, because this is where the topic turns urgently contemporary: machine reasoning without human judgment. Follow with an ethical dimension, a professional one such as medicine. Then an educational dimension about how our own examination culture overtrains the scalpel and starves the scent. Add a political dimension, policy that is data rich but empathy poor. And a personal dimension, the aspirant's own temptation to memorize rather than feel a subject. Finally, and this is not optional, give the counter view its due, because unchecked intuition without evidence has produced superstition and mob sentiment. And a mature essay says so honestly before it resolves. A warning here, because this is where most scripts fall apart. 6 or 8 dimensions written as 6 or 8 separate essays is not a great essay. It is a pile of paragraphs. Each paragraph must open on its own topic sentence, carry one anchor, and close by handing a question to the next paragraph. When you reach the counter view, do not cage it in a single grudging line. Let it breathe for 3 or 4 sentences. Show you understand why a purely intuitive age still worries thoughtful people, and only then turn the argument back towards synthesis. That single honest turn is often the difference between a script that scores in the 60s and one that touches the top band. Every dimension needs evidence, real, sourced, and interpreted, never left to sit alone. Consider the Indian physicist C.V. Raman, who in 1921, watching the blue of the sea on a ship voyage, asked a simple, curious question before he ever reached for rigorous proof. A question that eventually led to the discovery that won him the Nobel Prize. That is intuition, opening a door which reason then walked through and verified. Now bring it to today. In 2026, an Indian court had to set aside legal orders that leaned on fabricated case citations generated by artificial intelligence. A stark reminder that method without a human, judging mind produces confident nonsense, not truth. And a study on medical artificial intelligence found its diagnostic accuracy still lagging expert physicians by a meaningful margin, because a clinician's intuition, built on years of felt experience, still catches what a pattern-matching system misses. 3 anchors, 3 different centuries almost, one single argument running through them. Now the craft that actually lifts marks. Do not open by defining reason and intuition like a dictionary would. The examiner has read 100 of those by lunchtime. Instead, open on a scene, perhaps that shipdeck in 1921, a curious man staring at the color of the sea before he has any proof of why it is that color. Let your thesis follow naturally from that image, then build your dimensions. For the close, the strongest move is a circular callback. Return to the rose itself, and let your final line hold both the scalpel and the scent together, refusing to let either one win outright. A conclusion that resolves the tension rather than merely summarizing your paragraphs is what a top script always does. Here is a model opening line you may adapt in your own words. On the deck of a ship crossing the Arabian Sea in 1921, a scientist noticed a color no textbook of his time could fully explain. And instead of dismissing the feeling, he chased it until it became a law of physics. And here is a possible closing line to hold in your mind. The wisest civilizations have always kept both instruments close. The scalpel for what can be proven, and an open, listening heart for what can only be felt. For a truth that cannot be dissected is not therefore untrue. Make these your own. Never recite them word for word. The examiner rewards your voice, not mine. Let us bring it together. First, decode the topic and fix a single thesis you will defend to the last line. Second, choose the dimensions that genuinely illuminate this theme and order them so each raises the next. Third, anchor every big claim in a real, sourced fact or figure or a widely known event, and always interpret it. Never let it sit mute on the page. Fourth, give the counter view honest room before you resolve it. And fifth, close by resolving the tension you opened with, ideally circling back to your own opening image so the essay feels like one complete thought, not a list finished. That is today's masterclass. To everyone grinding through long, uncertain months for this exam, today I will simply say this. The discipline you are building right now, of thinking in paragraphs instead of points, will outlast this exam and serve you for the rest of your working life. So do not resent the effort. If you would like the complete written brief, 2 full model essays with examiner-style margin notes, delivered 3 times a week, do drop your email in the comments or write to team@upscdesk.com. Keep writing every single day, and I will meet you back here tomorrow.